benvenuto. Poi per 21 minuti.
Buongiorno. The title of my lecture is Attraction, a title that Patrizio gave me. I'm not sure what it refers to. Perhaps it refers to the strange law of attraction between quarks that my colleagues and I discovered that explained one of the four forces of nature, the force that acts within the nucleus of atoms. As Patrizio said, I decided to become a theoretical physicist at the age of 13, which surprises many people, but it seemed to me quite simple. I loved mathematics, I loved to do puzzles and to solve artificial problems. But then, at the age of 13, I started reading popular books on science, books by George Gamow, by Einstein and Infeld, by Eddington. And I learned of all the incredible discoveries that had been made in the beginning of the 20th century in astronomy and physics, quantum mechanics, relativity. It was enormously exciting. It was sort of like mathematical puzzles, but it was about reality, about nature. My hero was Einstein. He seemed like a god to me. Nowadays, as I've learned more about Einstein, his contributions and his failures, I regard him as a colleague. But then he was godlike, and he expressed in a beautiful sentence what I took as my goal as well. Namely, the supreme test of the physicist is to arrive at those universal fundamental laws of nature from which the cosmos can be built up by pure deduction. This is a very arrogant, ambitious point of view, enunciated beautifully by the master of physics of the 20th century, Albert Einstein. He was quite successful in making progress towards this ultimate goal of, in a sense, explaining everything from simple fundamental laws. And that was the goal that I tried to pursue. My dream was to join the community of physicists trying to understand the fundamental laws from which everything else, in principle, could be deduced. That led me to the university, and finally, as a graduate student, to Berkeley, California, in the early 1960s. Berkeley was the center of experimental particle physics in what are now old-fashioned particle accelerators, and the primary question was to understand the forces that acted within the nucleus of atoms, the nuclear force. This was not easy. It's not easy to probe inside the nucleus, which is a billion times smaller than a centimeter or a meter. And how we do this was once described by Feynman as smashing two Swiss watches together to try to figure out how they work. And all you have to go on is the picture of what is produced in this collision. Imagine taking pictures like this and trying to figure out what are the components and how do they work inside your watch.